Hey everybody, Tim Anderson here, aka Renfail, and welcome to a new series here on my YouTube channel dedicated to two of my favorite MMORPGs of all time, EverQuest and EverQuest 2. I have been inspired to dive back into these games and do a series of nostalgia videos, as well as showcasing a little bit about what these games are up to in the modern days, by folks like the Nathan Napalm, who I do the Looking for More show with, alongside Simmerg. And watching a lot of Nathan's videos about EverQuest, I know he's excited. I'm excited. There's the potential for an upcoming EverQuest 3, perhaps. I mean, we don't want to get hyped, but there's some movement in various places that would be very interesting. And it got me thinking about how much I really love these games, and I figured it was probably a good time for me to just dive in and start doing some video content about them because I haven't really done a lot on this channel related to those two games, despite the fact that these two games make up the bulk of my MMORPG experience. So, we're going to be doing that over the holiday season and into the early part of 2022. Who knows where it'll take us, but we're going to jump in and see where it goes. In the meantime, if this is your first time here, do me a favor. Like the video, comment below, let me know what you like, dislike about these games. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, do all the things you need to do to follow along to get more content like this delivered straight to you. Because I am going to be doing a lot of EverQuest content alongside the other things that I already do here at YouTube. But without further ado, let's talk a little bit about my love of the franchises and a little bit about my history. For those of you who are here for the first time and you might not know my background with the EverQuest games. So, I played EverQuest 1 from shortly after launch. I didn't actually start at launch. I started a few months after launch and then proceeded to play that game all the way up until EverQuest 2 launched, at which point I switched over and I put about 7 years into EverQuest 2. So in total, I had about 14 years of those two games where those were the only MMORPGs I played. I didn't sidetrack for Star Wars Galaxies, Dark Age of Camelot, Asheron's Call. I didn't sidetrack for any of those games. I stuck with those two games all the way up until basically, around the time that Vanguard came out. I got involved in Vanguard, then I got involved in Lord of the Rings Online, and then we moved over to Star Wars: The Old Republic a little bit. But EverQuest 2 for me was there for a long time after EverQuest 1, and I love both of these games dearly, even though they are dramatically different games in terms of how they play. Obviously, they still have the same core world lore, gods, goddesses, so on and so forth. EverQuest 1 is a completely different game from EverQuest 2. Now, since then, those of you who have been around for a while already know this, but if you're new here, you don't, so I'm going to talk about this. For a long time, when I was the creative director on the Saga of MMORPG, we did a lot of EverQuest with Project 1999, as well as the progression servers. I have played every single progression server except for the most recent, because I finally decided, you know what, I'm not going to do another progression server for them. I'm going to take a break. I have played all of the EverQuest 2 progression servers up to the most recent, which I think was Caledon a few years back, maybe 2, 3 years ago now. So I'm fairly up to speed on most things EverQuest. I don't play the modern version of the game, however, and I haven't played it in a very long time. I prefer to stick to the more classic versions of EverQuest and EverQuest 2. That being said, when I started thinking about this series, there was a lot I wanted to cover. Obviously, there is the nostalgia that is associated with these games, which some of that's good. I do think it's good to look back on things from classic EverQuest and how that might influence modern games. Thinking about things like no mini maps and no compasses, whether or not corpse runs are still a valid training tool, scaling of mob difficulty and EQ1. Those are things that I really appreciate. The dungeons taking months, weeks to months to run through as opposed to hours, or even 15-minute speed runs, which make me laugh. And then looking at EverQuest 2, there's things that no longer exist in the game that I have fond memories of, like the whole leveling curve in the early days of the game, going from the Isle of Refuge to the starting neighborhoods, and then needing to go from your basic archetype, like the fighter, and having to earn your way up to your class via quests. So going from like, fighter, crusader to paladin as an example. The citizenships quests, the egg quests to unlock the fast travel for the griffins. The fact that when EverQuest 2 first came out, it was one of the first games that heavily featured voiceover content. Those are all things that I look back on fondly, and want to talk about in a series of videos. I'm also going to be talking about my favorite classes in EverQuest 1 and 2, and whether or not the free to play version of EverQuest 1 and 2 is worth it in the modern age, or should you be paying a subscription, and whether or not the Daybreak All Access Pass is really worth it. We're also going to be covering crafting for both of the games, solo versus group content, and a whole bunch of other stuff in the upcoming series. So hopefully you'll follow along in the journey as I explore EverQuest 1 and EverQuest 2 in their entirety, and hopefully produce a series of entertaining videos that all of you enjoy and want to consume, and hopefully inspire you to maybe want to try these games if you haven't already done so, or to dive back in and try out progression servers or even the modern version of the game, which, by the way, I will be doing. In this upcoming video series, I'm actually going to be diving into the modern versions of these games and playing them and seeing what things are like, considering it's been a long time since I've actually played the live versions. So hopefully that inspires you to follow along. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get updates for future content, and let me know in the comments below which one of these games is your favorite game and which one are you most excited to see me covering. And if you have ideas for videos, types of things you'd like to see me cover here on the channel, drop that in the comments below and I'll make sure to add that to my list. Don't forget to join us in Discord if you'd like. Links are down there. I'll see everybody in the next video. Cheers, everybody. Bye.